As diplomatic tensions between Budapest and Warsaw rise, the election campaign in Hungary is gaining momentum, with Viktor Orbán's rival, Péter Magyar of the Tisza party, touring the incumbent Prime Minister's political stronghold. And to talk about the Polish-Hungarian relations and the latest from Budapest, we're joined by Zoltán Tarr, MEP and Vice President of the Tisza party. Good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. So, Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski writes on social media, let me quote, Viktor Orbán has turned Hungary into the poorest country in the European Union and is now threatening to leave the EU. This threat does not scare me because for years he has been sabotaging the EU in coordination with Putin. I warn you, this is what theft and nationalism lead to. And his Hungarian counterpart, Péter Magyar, responds. Quote, Radosław Sikorski lost his common sense to war-mongering. Now, have Polish-Hungarian relations hit the lowest in decades?
Unfortunately, yes. I think concerning the diplomatic and official governmental ties between the two countries, we can fairly talk about that this is the lowest in the partnerships of the two countries, which traditionally and historically are very close. So we are very sad to see this development because this shouldn't be like that. And unfortunately, I have to say that this is Hungary, which really, and the Hungarian government at the moment, which is really destroying this historic partnership.
So what will happen with the former Polish Deputy Justice Minister granted asylum in Hungary if you win the next year's election? Because this very much seems to be the main bone of contention between Warsaw and Budapest.
Yes, I think this is one of the main and most characteristic of the problems which we can see between the two countries and the two governments recently. I can assure you that we will comply with the EU laws and with all the regulations which are imposed, and obviously we will definitely look into the legal and legal details of this particular case from a distance where we can see, because we don't have all the information at the moment available to us. What we can say is that this is quite unfriendly from the government of Hungary to hide the deputy minister. And this is something which the Orbán government does quite frequently, giving refuge to politicians who are fleeing their country because of some political or even legal cases against them.
But is Viktor Orbán really willing to leave the EU? Let me quote the Hungarian Prime Minister. There's no such moment on the horizon when it would be better to leave. Spiritually, perhaps we are drifting apart, but economically, Hungary benefits more by staying. How to interpret these words?
Unfortunately, I think these words are really speak for themselves. This is one of the worst experiences for us, that what Orbán sees from the European Union is really just the financial benefits. From our point of view, from our approach, Hungary is part of the EU and we are members of the EU. So it's not just the benefits, but also the burdens which we have to take. When we signed the treaty, when we became part of the EU in more than 20 years ago, it was obvious that this will have benefits, but also it will have some difficulties. But when one becomes a member of a family, then this decision implies that we take on the good and the bad things as well. For us, there is no question that we belong to the European Union. We would like to be not just a faithful, but a constructive member of the EU. We see that the current Hungarian government is not a constructive member of the EU. They are not supporting the renewal of the EU and the struggles the EU is going through at the moment to fight with the various challenges of our age. And we would like to change that. We would like to definitely be part of solving the problem and not part of the problem.
Now, if Tisza wins next year's election, will he accept the next EU's budget proposal, or would you rather like to change it? Because Viktor Orbán openly says it's absolutely unacceptable for Hungary.
Yes, I mean, if we are talking about the next year's budget, that's one thing which is obviously at the moment has its difficulties, which we hope that these difficulties can be overcome in the coming weeks and months. But also concerning the next MFF, we see some very good signs, as well as there are some difficult parts, and we do hope that we will have a chance also as members of the European Parliament, but maybe later, as we come to power, hopefully by next year's election, to make some modifications in favor of the people of Hungary as well.
Hungary wants to remain as the top European spot for Chinese investments, says the country's foreign minister, Péter Magyar. Now, given the current geopolitical tensions, is this the approach Tisza agrees with?
Well, for us, the Chinese connection and the Chinese partnership is quite a difficult one. We see that China has made a lot of financial investment in Hungary, and this is something which is very important. We cannot deny that. Actually, at the moment, we don't see what are involved in those contracts with the Chinese companies. So that's why we don't really have a clear picture on which we can base our opinion. But we also see that to have a fruitful and good cooperation with the government of the United States, we have to deal with the current relationship with China. At the moment, the Hungarian government is in a very difficult situation because of the economical situation of the country. The inflation is rising, especially food inflation is rising quite significantly month by month. And this is something which is very, very difficult to handle for families and especially for pensioners. For us, the economic growth of the country is very important, and this is a priority. And we have to see how we can accommodate the current and already existing Chinese investment into that. Obviously, if this is a situation where we are in now, so we have to find out how we can work in this situation in a way which is beneficial for the people of Hungary and also complying with the rules of the European Union.
Well, the economic situation of the country is very much the hot topic of the election campaign. However, I wanted to ask you about relations with Ukraine. Now, there's been an arson of the Hungarian minority church in Ukraine's Transcarpathia region, and some anti-Hungarian slogans were sprayed on the facade of its church, of this church. Now, is this a pure coincidence, or does it have something to do with the election campaign kicking off for good?
Well, to be honest, at the moment we don't have the required information at hand. So there is still investigation going on. What has happened in Ukraine? What has happened with the church? Exactly who is behind that action. And at the moment, we are trying to grab the pieces and try to put together the picture, which is not easy because obviously the Hungarian government has its own narrative. And it's quite difficult to find the exact information which would be necessary in order to find out what's going on. We can say for sure that there are all kinds of activities initiated by the Hungarian government to interfere with the upcoming elections in Hungary. We have no idea whether this incident is one of those or not. We have no idea who is behind this.
So you'll have to look into it. Zoltán Tarr, MEP and Vice President of the Tisza party, was our guest this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
And thank you for watching and stay with us for much more here on TVP World.